What is this? Welling up inside me. I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the lies and deception. Oh, it's so intense. Almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey. Objection!
Hello everyone, Taisa here with Lewis joining me today in a little something special that has been planned and talked about in the background for quite some time now. We just haven't been able to do it because our schedules haven't been aligned yet until today. So if you read the title of this video, we are honored to have a chat with the English voice actor behind Ryunosuke Naruhodo today, Mark Takeshi Ota. Hey!
Hello.
Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
I'm very well today, actually, yes. Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm
How
glad.
are you?
I'm good. A little tired. It's like, I don't know why I'm tired. It's only the afternoon for me. It's the evening for you. So I don't know.
Maybe it's maybe it's power nap time usually, you know, so I don't know.
You know what? That's fair. It's just after lunch for me. I don't know, but,
right.
you know, I just had lunch, so you know what? That makes sense. So yeah, we're here to talk with Mark about his experience for the Great Ace Attorney, but also a bunch of other things, because at least when it comes to voice acting, you're pretty fresh. I didn't know anything about you until this game, because I usually kind of follow up on a lot of voice actors and stuff, and especially voice actors from EU side, because I only know mostly American voice actors on this end. So you're pretty new. So I'm sure people would like to know more about you.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I mean the Great Ace Attorney was my first video game voiceover. So yeah, I am fresh, I suppose. I've since done a couple more video games, but I guess they're yet to be released.
I think I saw you had was it a German-based video game that you could talk about?
There was a German one, yeah. It's called Cleo: A Pirate's Tale. It's really fun. It's an indie game actually. That's kind of in the vein of Monkey Island, sort of an adventure game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was really fun. And that came out I think in December. Yeah, I mean, about me, what should I say about me? I'm Mark. I'm a German-Japanese. So I grew up in Germany, and my father's Japanese. And I've been living in London for the past 10 years or so. And I mean, I work as an actor as well, so I've been working on stage and in London.
You started in stage play, and you also did mocap too, right?
Yeah, motion capture I got into a few years ago, and that's also I worked on a big video game that's also yet to be released, but I worked on that for a few years actually, and then 2020 I injured my knee, so I tore my meniscus, and then interestingly the same day that I tore my meniscus was the day that I was asked to audition for what I didn't know at the time was Great Ace Attorney. And obviously, because I couldn't do any motion capture anymore, it was quite nice to have some voice acting work then. So after surgery, about 1 month after, I got an email saying that, you booked this game. So that was pretty cool because I couldn't walk or anything. So so voice acting was kind of the only thing I could do probably.
So
That's really
you mentioned that Great Ace Attorney was your first video game role? Your first time voicing in a video game?
That's right, yeah. So
is there anything about sorry, I was just gonna say, is there anything about being a stage actor, and how did it feel going from stage acting to providing your voice in a video game? Was a lot of it really similar to what you were already doing, or were there some differences to it? I guess, how was the process?
I mean, I guess working in different mediums, because I've done motion capture, screen, and some screen work and stage work as well. And even though I've not done much voiceover, I've done a commercial before. It's kind of, in a way, it's all very similar. You know, you are still, you know, getting into trying to understand a character, expressing a character, just using a different medium. So usually, you know, if you do a stage play, you have a script. You're trying to get as much information as you can about whatever role you're playing, and you know, after a while, something forms, like, you know, in your head and in your physicality and stuff, and you just end up expressing that, you know. And so I think with voice acting, it's not really any different in terms of that process. What is then different is, of course, that focus on just the voice, you know, whereas on stage, of course, there's a lot of other things to consider, and that doesn't mean one or the other is easier. It's just very different, you know. On stage, you're usually interacting a lot more with other people. Your physicality is important, you know, where's the audience and where you're facing and everything. And of course, you have weeks of rehearsals for that. Whereas with voice acting, you know, you just, in this case, I did get, I think, the script before some of it. They sent me also videos of, you know, the original in Japanese, with subtitles. I mean, it was all available online, right? So
yeah, you could just YouTube it.
You could just YouTube it, you know. So in the end, it's kind of it's not all that different, because also when you're voicing, you're still, of course, being physical, you know. You just you're still moving in a way. I mean, I'm sure you guys know, you've seen probably voice actors working, especially when it's more action-packed games or something, then they're being very physical in the booth as well.
Yeah.
So it was good fun, really, you know, and it was very creative, kind of being there, talking to was it Janet Sue, I think, and the voice director as well. I think his name was Matthew.
I'm so jealous you got to meet her.
Well, over video only.
You still got to talk to her. That's pretty cool, honestly.
It was great.
Like, when were you recording this? Because, like, you know, when production starts, it's like months long ago. So, like, I know you were telling me that you may not remember everything of the process when we come to talk about this. So I was actually, when exactly did you start doing the recordings?
This was in August 2020, actually, that we recorded that. Yeah.
So almost like an entire year, because I think, the Greatest Attorney came out at the end of July of 2021?
Something like that. Yeah.
It came out mid last year, that I remember.
Yeah, something like that. It was quite interesting because I think, you know, while I was recording and then a bit after, at some point, I think I like just Googled sort of like I didn't have like a Google alert on or something, but I was just like, oh, Great Ace Attorney. And then there were like these leaks and stuff like that, right? So I was like, ooh.
Leaks? Oh, no,
I know,
those leaks.
I know something. You know? No, not my leaks, not my leaks.
No,
but they
I know,
were like...
not you. I thought you were talking about like leaks about like Great Ace Attorney when I'm sitting here like, but technically the game's been out for a while, so there isn't like story leaks, but I know what you're talking about now. I was like, okay.
Like a few months after I recorded it, there were like these leaks, right, of something. I forgot what it was, but it was basically a malicious group of people that were hacking into they were hacking into Capcom itself. It wasn't so much to leak that information, it was more of just using it for their malicious purposes. So they were actually going after information about the workers there. So not good. And I generally don't discuss because of
I don't even remember this.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Admittedly, this was probably around the time when Metroid Dread got announced, so like everything else just kind of became background noise.
Yeah, you just had your focus on Metroid, but yeah, it was a big scandal like with Capcom because it was not just the Greatest Attorney that was being leaked; it was other games that were being leaked because they were using that information to get something out of the company, basically. So I don't even discuss too much about the leaks just because of the reason why they came out in the first place. But I do remember those leaks, and I didn't think too much of it just because, like, how actually, I guess I should ask how much have you gotten through the game as of now? Before I continue.
I played till I think was it like 5 or something like that. 5 is it chapters or is it I forgot what it was.
Wait,
called.
you
it's
got
called chapters, right?
Wait, did
They're
you?
called episodes, aren't they?
They're called episodes. Yeah.
All right.
Wait, hold
So-
on. You got to the end of the first game?
I don't know if it's no. I don't think so. What is the
Well, you
5
said
episode?
you said 5, and there's 5 episodes, so that's why I was wondering. Are you still?
Is there?
Yeah.
But maybe I'm chapter 5. I don't know. I
Oh,
remember.
are you
What's
talking?
the last story beat you remember?
I'm I was playing the other day.
Were we still fighting
What's it
Ouchie?
called? Herlock.
Oh, you got to.
Herlock in the
Are you ship?
now I remember.
Are you on the ship?
No. In the I'm way past that. No, I'm in the
Oh wow.
what's it called? The pawn shop. The pawn shop thing.
Oh, you're on episode 5. Okay, I'm sorry. This is the last time I
He
heard.
said it was episode 5.
Yeah.
Okay, look, my only source of seeing whatever you're doing is Twitter. So the last time I heard you ever talking about it was still case 1. Okay, I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay. I
Please
wasn't.
understand.
No. I wasn't giving a running commentary. I don't know.
This does bring up a question, though.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of? No. I mean, obviously you are a fan, but like, have you played any of the past Ace Attorney games before this?
I didn't used to play them. No, I think it kind of passed by me. I was because when I was into games mostly in my teens, I think the first one came out probably in the early noughties or something. I think 2000 something.
Real talk. I actually didn't start playing Ace Attorney until I don't know. Like I think 4 games had already come out before I actually started playing Ace Attorney. So I don't even. I think it was 2001. I'm gonna put out a number, but I don't know if it's the exact date. 'Cause
Yeah.
I
think
didn't start when Ace Attorney first started. So.
Well, this is gonna sound awful. My first time playing Ace Attorney was when Taisa asked me if I wanted to be in her video for Ace Attorney 1.
And we're still here.
I didn't.
Well-
I didn't have a Nintendo DS, so that entire generation of games kind of skipped by me.
See, that's similar. I because I always used to play PC games. So I never really had a console. And so later on, I think I was more of a casual gamer than later. I wasn't really keeping up to date with everything, so it kind of passed by me. So I wasn't actually aware of the game. I'm afraid. But
Not even
it's
the
kind of-
memes.
I didn't know about it. I like, so that's why when I think maybe it was in a way nice getting it, because then you're not like so intimidated by something. If you're working on something that's very precious to you, then you kind of like feel very
Under pressure, yeah.
know, yeah, you kind of like want to do a really, obviously you still want to do a good job, but the interesting thing about performance is like you kind of you want to be able to, you know, work really hard at it, but also be kind of chill about it, you know. Like
No,
the more
yeah.
relaxed you are, then you do a better performance. But yeah, no, I only played it now, actually, the latest one, but I find it's a very unique gameplay. I don't know any game that's really like it. I think I described it to other people usually as a sort of interactive graphic novel story game, kind of like detective game almost a little bit, right?
Which, you know, that makes a lot of sense that you think that, because I know like the creator of Ace Attorney, Shu Takumi, he likes detective stuff. So
Yeah.
that aspect always ends up falling into his Ace Attorney games, because like I'm pretty sure he didn't make Ace Attorney to talk about, you know, courtroom stuff. He just wanted to tell a story, and I think just the courtroom setting made it work for what he wanted, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see Ace Attorney as Law and Order if it was a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I feel like some of the humor in the Grey Ace Attorney compared to the mainline series is a little bit more, it's more toned down, because like a lot of people know Ace Attorney for the puns, the the pop culture jokes, because that was in the localized version of Ace Attorney. And coming into the Ace Attorney, like, the reason why I was asking how far you were in, and we were talking about the whole, like, leaks and stuff like that, I honestly was not ever expecting those games to ever get localized, because they were so drastically different from the Ace Attorney games. Because they were so much more rooted to history than Ace Attorney. You know, so a lot of the subjects, and I know, I'm sure you've seen it now, some of the subjects in there are pretty, they're kind of sensitive in a way, so I really wasn't expecting it to ever get localized, and on top of that, when the games first came out in Japan, they didn't sell well. The first game didn't sell well at all, and the second game wasn't even going to happen because it was so bad, and the only reason why the second game ever even happened at all was because the producer Eshiro asked Capcom to, you know, make the game because he just really likes Ace Attorney. So that's how we have two games now, and you know, and the way the second, Lewis isn't there yet, but they're like, I think you might have noticed, because you gotten footage of scenes you were voicing, right? You'll notice that some of them are cutscenes. And then later on, they're just in-game models moving around instead. If you notice that for certain cutscenes, because they just didn't have. I'm going to assume, because I don't work for them, I don't know, but I'm going to assume they because the budget was so tight with the second game, they just couldn't do cutscenes anymore. So that's why half of it's cutscenes, and then later on it's just in-game models doing the cutscenes.
That's a fair point. I mean, it could be a stylistic choice, but it could be a budgetary choice as well. I mean, I did really like the animation ones. I thought that was kind of fun. But I hadn't really thought about it. Actually.
And all of your voice scenes are all in the second game. Like, you have much more. Like, you have like the first game, literally, I know your scenes are mostly just your shouts and then the cutscenes. But in two, you actually start narrating some of the scenes. So
I know,
it's interesting how they just went about it.
Yeah, no, that's true. I like, until now, like most of them, it's just like, take that and stuff like that.
Yes.
We love picking on that, yes, because it comes up at the most funniest moments in the game.
It does, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It comes up when you like kind of
You're
not
the only one who
agreeing
could have
with
killed
something. Yes.
Yeah, we're just like,
But also,
no.
no.
And I thought it was just funny because like it just seemed odd. Yeah, the Japanese one is the same thing. It's hi. It's yes.
Yeah.
But I know with like there are fan translations of the game out, and most of the times I've seen them translated just saying "sir" instead of "yes." So yeah, so it was interesting where they went actually direct with it and decided to go with yes.
They went direct with it.
It grew on me because at first I wasn't too sure because I felt like it would make things too awkward. But no, the awkward made it even funnier, and I'm just like, no, what? This can stay. This can all stay.
It even gets acknowledged in the game. There's a scene where he yells yes, but then he says, "But no."
I think I actually remember that. Yes, but no. Was that somewhere earlier on? I think maybe I remember that.
I think it was the first episode.
I think it was the case. Yeah, Lewis has only gotten me and Lewis, like, we're our playthrough right now. Lewis is in the middle of case 3 right now, if you just have an idea of where he is and what he knows. So on the subjects,
I'm playing Baroque and I'm living.
You're playing Baroque.
He's such a jerk. I'm living.
Because
I don't get that. What is I'm living? Is that an expression?
Oh, it just means I'm enjoying myself.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was like, are you living? Like,
we're all in the same.
I would kind of by default have to be living.
You're not a zombie or anything, are you?
We're all in the same age group. Some of us just happen to be on the internet a little bit more than we should be.
No, it's also like, I mean, like, come on, it's also like different locations in the world and everything. And I mean, I did live in the US 1 year when I was 16.
Where did you? Yeah, I saw that. Where did you stay in the US?
I mean, not like live. I did in like an language exchange, I suppose. So I was in Pennsylvania, near Hanover.
That's too north for me, but okay.
Wait, I forget. Where were you again? You said you're
I'm Florida.
Florida. Oh god, that's like way different.
Yeah.
So far away.
The Florida man, the states with all the memes.
Florida man has been.
Yeah, and I can't
Florida
even.
man
I can't
try
even.
to eat an alligator's teeth or something.
I can't even refute that because the state is just ridiculous sometimes. I think
that does actually sound like a Florida man headline.
I live in this.
Anything can be a Florida man headline, right? Like
I live
Florida
in
man found with plastic in his stomach.
I live in basically the Ace Attorney state at this point, honestly. So yeah, no, but
yeah, actually, speaking of, there is one thing I take issue with, Taisa.
What?
The idea that most of the humor comes from just the localization of the Ace Attorney games. I'm sorry. Cross-examine the Parrot is not something that localization brought to this series.
Well, there is humor in the Japanese version, but the problem is it's humor that wouldn't translate to a Western audience because we don't know the culture kind of thing. And that's why, at least with the mainline, they had to really, they changed the script, they changed the location and everything with the mainline one just to make it easier to relate with the Western audience. So it was actually a nice change to see what happens if they were given an Ace Attorney game and didn't have to alter anything. So this is actually these are the first two games where they really didn't alter too many things, to just make it translatable to a Western audience. They actually kept most of the context and everything there, which was,
I'm gonna be honest,
very different.
I just wanted an excuse to bring up cross-examining the Parrot.
I don't think Mark even knows about that.
All right, look, Mark, let me explain to you.
Okay.
I'm not gonna give you a lot of the story context in case you decide to play the game. But there is a scene where the prosecution, as a joke, throws out, maybe you should just cross-examine the Parrot. And then Phoenix, in all his single brain-celled glory, decides, you know what? I will. I would like to cross-examine the Parrot. And the prosecution's like, wait, you can't do that. And Phoenix is like, oh, but you told me I could do it. And then the Parrot gets put on the witness stand.
It's a very well-known Ace Attorney joke, I guess you could say. Like, you can look it up and it's just everywhere.
Which game is that in? Is that one
the first one? It's the very first
the first game. I did actually play the first game a little bit. I played like 1 or 2 cases of it, I think, because I just wanted to, get a feel for the game and what it's like.
It's incredibly short, wasn't it? Like the first couple of cases are very short compared to where it is right now in the Ace Attorney.
I mean, the first Great Ace Attorney, I was like,
it just kept going.
Because initially, because a friend of mine, she really likes the game and she likes the series. So, so we were like, oh, let's just play it together. And we started playing it. And then I think we played on 2 different occasions together and we still didn't make it through. And we getting tired and we were like, okay, let's just try another time. And then we didn't match up times anymore. So I just kind of played it on my own. But, so we never finished the first one together, but it was quite long. I don't remember how many hours.
I guess they were more focused. I guess as time passed, I guess they wanted to do more thematic themes or purposes and in the storytelling, I guess, and that's why it got so long. I don't mind it so much, but having gone through it a couple times and now going through it I don't know how many times at this point, I do think there are certain aspects of the first case, at least, they could have just cut down a little bit, because sometimes they stay. I think my issue with most of the Great Ace Attorney cases right now is that they stay on a certain subject or a topic a little too long, I think. But I'm gonna rewind this back a bit. I had other questions and we keep falling off somewhere else, and I'm like,
it's the Parrot. I'm sorry.
Well, the first question I wanted to ask was about the different shoutings that you had to do. The shouts for Naruhodo. How many takes did you generally had to give for each one? And I guess this also goes into who decides what lines stay in and what lines don't work or something like that. I guess you don't really have much of a say in that. You just do your voices and then they just look it over and then they just pick, or do you have any say in that?
I mean, I can make suggestions or something. If there's I gotta admit again, like I said, this is nearly, what was it, a year and a half ago or
yeah,
something, so
I understand.
specifically, but my recollection of that time also was obviously Janet, and it wasn't only Janet. I don't know if there were also I think 2 Japanese guys in there. So you mentioned earlier, was it I don't want to. Was it Takumi-san? Or
well,
like,
Takumi is the creator director. I think
creator.
I don't know. I don't know if Takumi.
I don't know if he was. He might have been. I'm not sure. But there were 2 other Japanese guys in there. But anyway, like, so if there was something, that worked really well, then they would just be like, yeah, that's great, and you move on. If sometimes there's like something, we're not sure about this or whatever, then you try something different, you get direction, and but if something doesn't work, I might make a suggestion, hey, how about this version or something. But with these shouts, I'm sure I just did a bunch, and then you would be like, okay, now make it like you're not sure about yourself, and then now make it like, you're very determined to object.
So
I don't know.
So you're saying someone greenlight that particular objection that's in the game right now because
of course they did. It's not my choice. I had plenty.
Yeah, I'm just really confused because in comparison to all of the other shouts that they did put in, I still feel like that objection was probably not the strongest one they picked. And I sat here and was like, there had to have been other stronger takes. I don't know why they picked this particular one. Because I thought, I just like if you stack it with the other shouts is what I'm saying. Like you've heard your character shout now, and you've heard them all now, and you hear the objection. It's just
the take that is a bit more emphatic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think than the objection.
Yeah.
I mean, they did call me in for I think I went in for an extra day because we didn't finish all the cutscenes and stuff. So if they weren't. I think if they wanted a more determined objection and they didn't have it, then I'm sure I could have given them one. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe they. I think the thing is with the character. My understanding was also that they like wanted him to be a little uncertain and unsure at times. I think so. Maybe that was just a deliberate choice. I think.
I would.
Oh, I'd believe that.
I would definitely agree with that. It's just the rest of the shouts don't match is the thing that kind of it doesn't bother me like so much now that I've heard it. Like, okay, I'm fine with it now. But I know initially when all we had was just a couple of voice clips, it just stacked up with the rest of the shouts. It just seemed kind of not the best take they could have picked, basically, compared to everything. And it's funny because like. At least in the, I don't know enough Japanese to know the inflections and everything on that side. But I always, when I look at you two, I always see, oh my god, what was his name? Hiro? Oh shoot, Hiro, I think it's Hiro Shimono. It was the voice for Naruhodo in Japanese. Okay. And he makes Naruhodo loud when he's nervous, so he gets louder. And for you, I find it adorable that your interpretation of Naruhodo when he's nervous is that he just gets more polite. And I love both interpretations very much. So in a sense, I think the objection works in that way too, because like I don't see Naruhodo, at least in the English version, as like a loud person, just polite. And it works.
I could see how loud can be. I can see how you could lead to the assumption that he's loud. I think probably because of how stiff and wide-eyed and like manic looking his eyes are when he's like his eyes are moving from side to side. Like, I could see that leading to just being like, "Oh, excuse me."
Yeah.
I think there is also like if I think about like in Japanese language, it's it would be there's a different. If you're like particularly apologetic or something, then you can become a little bit louder. I think like because it's like emphatically apologizing in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas I think maybe in English it's a little different. That's interesting. It's a very astute observation.
Did you have like any kind of routine before you started any of your voice acting, or actually maybe just any acting or mocapping in general? Did you have anything that you did before just to prepare yourself for any of this stuff?
I mean, generally, like you know, if I'm doing voice acting, a vocal warm up is very helpful and important. And similar when I do motion capture. So it's not. I mean, yeah, it's nothing in particular. It's kind of also like what you need on the day, you know. But a few stretches and you know a good vocal warm up and stuff is always very good.
Yeah, like for me, sometimes, like for example, for me, I would like, it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll just sing before I start something just to get it going, something like that. Or I'll just try to avoid drinking anything that's dairy for that day, because
that's what people say as well. Yeah, of course, drinking and you know, but no, I mean, I have also again from stage acting, you know, you like have sort of stock vocal warm ups that I do, you know, and so I tend to do that before. It just kind of makes sure you have all your consonants and everything, you know, like p poo and and all that stuff.
Nice, nice.
Did you have like a go-to line that you used to get into character?
Oh, that's a good one. Go-to line.
That is a good question.
There wasn't really a go-to. I mean, there wasn't necessarily. I think with Ryunosuke, it was like it was just I'm thinking now. How did I get into it? So long ago. He was just a little bit younger than me, and they wanted him to be a bit more RP and like a young, very determined and. I got to think like it's just kind of it's also a physical. I'm often thinking quite physically how I position myself, and so he's a bit more upright and like, oh yes, we need to do this, and let's go to court. I don't know, like it's just more a physical thing, and then
but so less like a line delivery and more just like how to deliver the line, I guess, physically.
I think. I don't know. For me, it's I don't know. Get into character is kind of it's you can get very into like a philosophical debate about acting or something. But for me, it's kind of like
just do it.
Well, I mean, how I trained and how you kind of like that. I mean. There is no character. Is kind of like Mamet wrote I think a book, and he trained with Meisner, Sanford Meisner and things. And sometimes the perspective is like there's no such thing as a character. It's kind of just what you know. The character is created in people's imagination, you know. Like so, you just kind of express yourself under. You know, the circumstances, the imaginary circumstances that you're given. So, in a way, you know, if you put it's kind of very simple. We do it when we're 2 or 3 or maybe a bit older. But you just like, all right, I'm a cowboy, whatever. And then you're a cowboy, right? Like, so there isn't necessarily, once you've done the preparation, I think for me on the day, there isn't necessarily that much of a process, if that makes sense. So I'm just kind of like, and then we also work with the voice director, and you know, I think we did the first. We started actually with this monologue to get into it a little bit, the one that isn't actually in the game. Oh no, wait, it is in the game. Hold on, it was the what's this?
What's this feeling? Yes,
Running up inside me, it's a sort of conviction to break down all the lies and deception.
Yeah.
You know?
And more than anything else.
I do. Something about breaking down.
Voiced?
It is a voice clip, but it is not actually in the main game itself.
That's what it was. Yeah, it's like on the extras. So
yes.
It isn't. Yeah.
I
remember
really
that
weird.
line.
Yeah, the line is there, but the voice clip isn't played. But then you can find the voice clip in the extras for some reason.
I'm going to assume, because I was looking at all the extra clips and I'm like, oh, these are actually lines that are actually in the game. They're just not voiced. I'm assuming they were just I'm assuming they were just recording them for advertisement purposes, because you do hear certain clips in certain trailers. So that's what I'm assuming why those clips were there.
Could be. Could
Yeah.
be.
And that
or
was...
maybe it was for me to get into character. I don't know.
I mean, that's a pretty good line. That got localized pretty interestingly. So that's pretty good.
I mean, I liked that line.
Yeah.
Thought that line was great.
It was.
Beneath this kitten, there's a fierce tiger. That's Naruhodo. That's what it sounded like to me, anyway.
I just like the idea that like someone is lying to his face so blatantly that it just kind of lit a fire to prove this dude wrong as much as he possibly could.
Yeah.
That sounds
And
about
I'm just
right.
like, that is somehow a very relatable feeling.
True.
I'm assuming you were also recording by your is this like just in booths? I'm guessing because of the pandemic and everything. So you didn't really get to meet any of the other actors or actresses.
No, I didn't meet any of the other actors. But I mean, my understanding is even before the pandemic, that would be quite normal. I think it's rather rare, actually, even pre-COVID.
Sorry, continue.
No, like my understanding is just that it's rather rare, even pre-COVID, to for games to actually have a direct dialogue with someone else. It does happen occasionally, I'm sure, but I think quite often you just record your own lines. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, I think it's the same case here in the States when it comes to video games, at least. I think when it comes to like actual animated works, sometimes you'll have a group.
Yeah, that might be different, I think. Like, you might actually have conversations then and stuff, because it might help. But the thing is, in video games, I think the difference is also, of course, there's a lot of lines you do record on your own anyway. Not everything is dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing an anime or animated film or something, there's very little, like, monologue, right? Everything is usually dialogue. And there isn't random shouting of objection that they're just going to put in anywhere. That doesn't happen in films or TV shows or something.
Yeah.
It's more a matter of how chopped up video games are.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, if you play other games also that are like whatever RPGs, you have like these random, like Baldur's Gate or something, right? You just have like, hey, you get over here. I've got a quest for you or something. So that's. Or like, I'm very tired.
Speaking of games, you did say you played a little bit when you were younger, right? You're on the PC.
Oh, I played
mostly?
shit tons. I played a lot. I played too much.
Okay, all right. What was your favorite game or genre that you generally? You said RPG, so I'm just like, do you like
I think
RPGs then?
RPGs and first person shooters were probably like the main things I played. So I mean, also strategy games actually. So we played a lot of I used to do like LAN parties with my friends and stuff when I was a teenager, and we played things
I carried
like
around that Xbox too.
Yeah, no, ours was all PC, man, PC. So we played Half-Life back then, and Warcraft 2 and 1, StarCraft, and what else did we play? Even like Heroes of Might and Magic. I don't remember which one, 1 or 2 or 3 or something. But on my own, I played a lot of Diablo 2 and Diablo 1.
Oh.
And
so you were the Blizzard kid. Sounds like you were the Blizzard kid.
Definitely,
you were playing
a lot
on
of
PC
Blizzard
in the late '90s. Everyone was a Blizzard
That's what
kid.
you would do, yeah. But Command and Conquer, like, we used to play Command and Conquer as well when that was a thing, But also, I loved a lot of like, even like, do you know the Ultima series also? Ultima Ascension I played. I really like that one. What else? Trying to think. What did I used to play? I think Diablo 2 is probably the game I kind of, in total hours, probably played the most.
God, I have special memories with Diablo 2. Not because I played it, but because, like I said before, I'm Puerto Rican.
Because I thought it sucked.
No. I'm Puerto Rican, which means that I have a Spanish-speaking mom. And in the late 90s, I was like 10, and the game is literally called The Devil.
Yeah, yeah. Cultural.
So
it's a cultural
like,
thing.
You're not playing
play
that.
Diablo 2? No.
Oh, I have parents who are like super strict about like following ratings and everything. I wasn't allowed to watch PG-13 things, and it could have been just the 1998 Godzilla movie, and I couldn't watch that because it was PG-13, and there was nothing bad happening in it.
I guarantee you there was nothing in that movie that warranted a PG-13 rating.
No, I watched it and I was like, why is this PG-13? Like, was it because someone said the F word once? I don't know, because that's how you get a PG-13 rating. Someone says the F word once these days, and that's how you get that.
I think it's is it like twice or something? Like I remember seeing something recently where they said like, oh, like it got a certain rating because of a second F word. Oh, I think did they say in Marvel films sometimes or something that they sometimes they just say like one F word because
that bumps the rating.
That's all you get. Like yeah, if you do a second one, then it's
that's
like
R.
X-rated or something. I don't know, R-rated, whatever they're called. Not X-rated. That's different.
We don't go there.
PG-13, you get 1.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You speak as if there's a rating for this interview. There isn't.
So we can say fuck, like even twice?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You can say it even 3 times if you want it.
Oh my god. We've only done it once now, and I feel like that was wasted. I only named it, for fuck's sake. Oh, that was better. That felt a bit better.
See, I'll just insert your yes shout over the F words like I do for my
yes.
Yeah, well, it was a joke, and then I ended up keep doing it because I have, sometimes we swear when we're playing through the Great Ace Attorney, and it just became a joke where if you say the F word, I'm just gonna put yes over it, and it's really funny just doing that.
It works.
I wasn't big on playing PC games when I was younger because I didn't have a powerful PC at my house. And
neither.
It was one of those, like, shared family PCs, but I do remember playing Command & Conquer Red Alert 2 and StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
I watched my uncle.
Those two.
I only watched my uncle played it. That's it.
The thing is, we had a PC because I could get my parents, or me and my brother, we could get our parents to get a PC because it wasn't just for gaming. It was like, see, it's very good. We can learn on it and you can find things out. And like, for later, it's really important to be good with computers and stuff,
Uh-huh.
Whereas with consoles, it's just for gaming. So we weren't allowed to just do that, because even though I did play a lot of games on the PC, but, and I think, I upgraded the PC like a lot, like just whatever I could save.
Whoa, dude,
graphics card or whatever.
Did you ever build your own PC?
I constantly upgraded it. So like I did. I think eventually the PC I had was like completely new because I just continuously I bought a new graphics card, new motherboard, and CPU and whatever, and I used to do all of that. I was very much. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, continue.
No, I was when I was a kid. I wanted to be like a video. I did a placement at IBM when I was like 15 or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like for a few weeks, and I did do a little bit of programming, like but just really old school, like Turbo Pascal and Basic, and I think when I did programming in the US at school. I did a very ambitious end of year project trying to do like a sort of Space Invader thing. It wasn't very good, but
okay,
but I managed.
But you did it.
Something like that. I had like 5 sort of things come down the screen from top to bottom, and then you could go left and right and try to shoot them. And if you shoot them, they disappear, and then they start again. And if they hit you, then it's over. That was pretty much it.
But you did it, and that's better than not doing it.
Yeah. No,
okay, but that's really cool.
It was fun.
You were doing like computer programming before you went into acting. Is that what I'm gathering?
Well, I wouldn't say before I went into acting. No, I never did it. I did that when I was 16, 17.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to do it.
Okay.
I wanted to do it, but like then I realized it's really hard, and I didn't anymore.
Me with animation, I'm just
no.
It
was like very complicated, and you got like I don't know, so much code and stuff, and it was very complex. And I mean, my first degree was in economics, so I changed directions many times in my life, I suppose. I don't know.
I just hate that. I hate that mindset where people are like locked in a certain thing. When people are very finicky. Like we always change interests as we go on with our lives. So like I hate that belief where people are like stuck to one thing. Like you have to get a degree and you're gonna be stuck with that. I'm like, no, actually.
I mean, like if one is happy with that and enjoys, and of course even within one field you can keep exploring and or maybe some people are also like happy just doing one job for the rest of their life, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's fine.
I agree with you. No, absolutely. Whatever makes people, but I agree. I think it's coming up more over the recent, I guess in our generation, that it's becoming a bit more okay to keep changing also, maybe, as long as you I mean, the thing is, I think I got that from my father. Was actually very supportive when I wanted to change direction. And people are always surprised because my father is the Asian side, and they're always like, oh, Asian parents just make you, do this and do that. It's like,
I get tired. I do get tired of the stereotypes, but sometimes they're not wrong about it.
I mean, in some cases, I'm sure it is, but I think in my case, because my dad studied German initially, and then he worked for the German embassy in Japan, and then he later wanted to do a second degree, and so he went to Germany and did a second degree, and so we changed directions. So I think cool. And this was back in my dad was born 1942, so that was in the 70s that he quit a well-paying job at the German embassy in Japan and said, like, I'm going to move to Germany and do a second degree. So I think he must have had a lot of opposition by people, and being like, are you crazy? What are you doing?
So he's kind of lives through that. So he just wants you to have like, do what you want, do what you want to enjoy. Yeah, I get that sentiment. Yeah, your dad's cool.
Just like, he always was just like, whatever you do, just, work hard, take it serious, and you'll be fine. He's a great guy. Great dad.